Shalom everyone, and welcome to our weekly Zohar class. And today we're studying Parashat VaYeshev. Parashat VaYeshev is from the book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 1. And it starts with VaYeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. And Jacob settled, the word is VaYeshev, he settled in the land of his father's dwellings in the land of Canaan. Okay, and here we have one thing that most spiritual teachers say, VaYeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv. Jacob, after all what he has gone through, so much. This, Jacob did not have a nice, easy life. You can't say that. Okay? Why? Because this is what the message of the whole Torah is about. You cannot achieve greatness just sitting on the balcony in front of the sea, enjoying the breeze and drinking pina colada. No one ever achieved greatness by having nice time. Okay? And we have to understand it. Our job in this world is fight and some more fight. Who do we fight? And here the answer is in the Zohar, this parasha. The Zohar, this parasha is doing something very weird. The Zohar is repeating the beginnings of the previous parasha, which are basically talking about one thing. That is, if you're born in this world and you really want to achieve something, it's all about fighting your evil inclination. Okay? And the Zohar is giving this verse from Psalms 34 that says, Rabbi Chia patach ve'amar, Rabbi Chia opened and said, Rabot raot tzadik umikulam yetzilenu Hashem. A righteous person has many troubles, and God will save him from all of them. God, why giving me the troubles? You're behind everything anyway. Even the troubles are part of the scheme. Even the troubles, even the evil inclination is part of the great plan. Okay? So God, give me a break. Why doing that? And the answer is, כמה מקטרגים יש לו לאדם יום שנתן לו הקדוש ברוך הוא נשמה בעולם הזה. How many disturbing angels a person has them following him from the day the Creator gave him a soul in this world. כיוון יצא האדם לאוויר העולם, the moment the human being comes out to the air, he's born, מיד מזדמן יצא הרע להשתתף עמו. Immediately, the evil inclination comes to join him. As we learned, שכתוב לפתח חטאת רובץ. The sin is there at the gate, at the opening of the womb of our mother. Okay? Uboe, what's the proof? Continues the Zohar, verse 2. Uboe, כשכנו כי הבהמות מיום שנולדו, כולן שומרות את עצמן ובורחות מאש ומכל מקומות הרעים. והאדם כשנולד מיד בא להשליך עצמו לתוך האש. You see little animals? They don't have even inclination. Why? Because you see, when animals are born, doesn't matter as when they're really young, they know how to run away from danger, especially from fire, from all kinds of other dangers. Human babies, they attract to troubles like flies to the fire. It's like they attract to it. They cannot avoid danger. They look for danger. It's a miracle a child reaches older age because it's God's miracle that children reach old age, because they're so creative in creating life-threatening situations. This is the proof, says the Zohar, that we are born first with the evil inclination. that always takes us on the wrong direction. Why? What is good about that? Because when the good inclination is coming on our bar mitzvah, 13 years for boys, 12 years for girls, then the good inclination has to make its way to take over. And that is called this process is called our tikkun, our correction. We're not here to rest and to settle. We're here to wage a war. The spiritual human being is a warrior. Where is the arena of the war? First and for all, it's in our mind, in our brain, in our hearts. This is where the war is. As long as you're not aware to the war, you are losing, because the evil inclination was there before. And whatever you think is common, normal, logic, if you remember that from young age, that means that that is part of the scheme, the big scheme, the conspiracy of the dark side, that we are born into it in order to break loose and to free ourselves. And that is the name of the game. So when it says that Jacob wanted to settle down, Jacob was one of the most spiritual people ever lived on earth here. For almost 4,000 years later, he is a celebrity without any PR company, without any budget, without any TV channel promoting him, because his actions were so powerful that 4,000 years, this brand is still strong, like more than anything else. Big empire rose and collapsed and disappeared. Well, maybe some of them we remember the name. We have no idea what it is exactly. How many emperors were so mighty? They're gone. Gone. How many people remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? That's what the Torah is teaching us. We have in our life to tell between what is eternal and true and what is temporary and false. And that word is what life is about. Now, in order to achieve victory in this war, we also have a body. And our body needs food daily, needs a shelter, needs all of that stuff. And we have to remember that that stuff is temporary. We cannot take it with us. But those moments of divine, those moments of ascension, that we really impose light over darkness, mind over matter, soul over body, these are the greatest moments. And the story of this parasha, which is always part of Hanukkah, has very similar issues and aspects with Hanukkah. Why? So it is, VaYeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv. So we understand that if you want to be spiritual, you can't have a nice, easy moments, because it's a waste of time. Every moment is a time to gain victory over darkness. How? Meditation, doing good, the mitzvot. That's what studying Torah is about. It's all about what are the tools, what are the actions, what kind of a consciousness you have to create in order to bring light and to win over the darkness. Okay, and then the next verse is very interesting. Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. These are the offsprings or the generations or the outcomes of Jacob, Joseph. There isn't even a comma between Jacob and Joseph. And we already explained it in a few weeks ago in Parashat VaYetze, that all his life, Jacob knew that one of his major goals is to bring the soul of Joseph to this world. Why? Because the life of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're not history. We don't learn historical facts. We learn about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in order to connect to these states of mind of Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. Chesed is the loving kindness aspect of our uh, um, reality, our consciousness, of the mind that we want to build, the mind of the victorious warrior, spiritual warrior. You need to have Chesed, and that's the energy of, and the information, the consciousness of Abraham, loving kindness in the utmost ability. That's Abraham. Okay, as we explained in previous weeks, Isaac is the ability to create awareness of fire, which is overcoming negativity, overcoming our own body consciousness, which is about setting the limits and stuff like this. Without Isaac, the chesed of Abraham is meaningless. But putting them together as one consciousness that you can in the same time say no with love in order to share an understanding, to share what really life is about. It's about, on one hand, enjoying all the spiritual light in the universe, and at the same time having discipline, awareness of I have enough physical, and putting the boundaries to myself and to others in order to have my own space of spiritual ascension. And that is Jacob. The ability to connect and unite the right and the left, the plus and the minus, the water and the fire, which is logically impossible. It means it's like when you give, you get. When you get, you give. How do you do it in one, at the same place? This is the magic of Jacob. However, as we said previously, Jacob knew that people cannot connect to something like that. It's too lofty. It's too high. It's beyond philosophical. It's magic. It's real magic. How can people connect to such a level? They need something, another level that will be on the boundary between the spiritual and the mundane. And this is called the Sephirah of Yesod, which is a central column of the lower triangle. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the upper triangle. That's, if you know what is called and known as the Star of David, it's two triangles. The upper triangle, one triangle, it doesn't matter. It's just a code. The upper triangle is doing it in the upper walls. The lower triangle is about being able to apply it in your relationships, in our day-to-day physical life, living in a physical body, making a living, doing business, all of that stuff, being a member of a community. You always need to bring it down to something that people can see and understand and relate to. And this is called the lower triangle. What manifests the lower triangle, the central column of it, is Joseph. And that's why it says these are the generations, the offsprings of Jacob, Joseph. Joseph was an extension, but did the same way as his father Jacob, to become that chariot that has the ability to unite the heaven and the earth, to be a chariot, the right and the left, the chesed and the gvura, the water, the spiritual water and the spiritual fire, into something that is both together. Jacob had to go through a lot of challenges till he arrived to a place in which this is settled. Okay, same with Joseph. And here, the star, from now on, till the end of the book of Genesis, the star of the story is Joseph. Why? Because Joseph is the tangible link for every human being to connect to that gate, instead of connecting to the gate of evil that we all born with, to connect to the gate of ascension. That achieving a connection to that gate is essential, to real spiritual achievement, fulfillment, and ascension. The whole thing about manifesting a person to spirituality, you need to go through that gate. Who created that gate for all of humanity? Joseph. So through the story of Joseph, we can make that connection. And that's why when we read the story, Joseph is 17 years old. Why is that important? He had terrible stuff at that age. He went through what we call in modern psychology a big scale trauma. You know, a person going through a trauma like this, you know, your beloved brothers that you think they love you, they don't. But you don't know that. You're not aware of it. They, not just that they want to kill you, finally, they say, oh, no, we're not going to kill him, but they sell you as a slave, which the Torah says that is death sentence. Selling a free human being as a slave, it's like worse than killing him. And they sold him. What a trauma. Now, being the beloved child of his father, not just a father, Jacob, a magical father that you cannot even imagine, okay? And you are the beloved child of your father. And then on your 17th year, you're being cheated by your brothers. They almost kill you. Just because they're not really united, they leave you alone for a while and then use the opportunity to sell you as a slave to Egypt. And then you come to Egypt as a Hebrew slave in the land of the Egyptians, who were very, very racial. They were sure they are the high race, and all the other races are very, very inferior to them, especially the Hebrews. They were despising whoever was not an Egyptian. And then coming in as a slave, it's like the bottom of the scale. Being a Hebrew slave in Egypt, you can't have worse than that. Okay? So some kids, they grow up and they need all kinds of antidepressants, and they need therapy, and they need maybe hospitalization once in a while because they have a big scale depression because of they are in post-trauma and stuff like this. We hear that all the time. Joseph had all the reason to do that, and he did not. And we learn the story because the hint is in number 17. He was 17. Why do I care how old was he? Maybe he was 16 and a half. Maybe he was 19. 17 is tov, good, which means whatever we go through is good. The moment we have a clear, established faith, not logical faith, beyond logic. Faith means emunah, means connection. When we really work out our connection with the endless light of the Creator, we will achieve that faith, which means whatever happens to us, that is for the good. And you know what? When you are focused on that, that's what you're going to see. And that's what's happening to Joseph. He goes, he has dreams. We have the story about the dreams, and the stories about the dreams. You can get a lot of it about the meaning of dreams, but that's not the topic today. The topic today is that Joseph does not understand that his brothers hate him because they are envy, because they think he's another Esau over there, another Ishmael. Let's finish him off before he turns to another enemy. Okay, they don't get it. And we are talking about the brothers of Joseph, who were also Jacob's sons. Each one of them became a tribe. They were in a level of prophecy. How come they did not see? To show us another time. Jacob did not see. We had before Isaac, he did not see. Abraham did not see. This is a very important rule we learn in the book of Genesis. The fact that you can become the holiest person in the world. You can overcome the evil inclination. You can really achieve greatness in ways no one ever achieved. That does not mean that you're supposed to see the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Whatever you see is what you are supposed to see in order to achieve the next round of fight between the snake and the light. What is a snake? It's God's creation. He is a servant of the Creator like everything else. The servant is that without, later on when we come to the real end of the book of Genesis, what does it say? When the brothers come to Joseph after the funeral and they say, Father Jacob said that you should forgive us for whatever we did to you by trying to kill you, by selling you as a slave, all the hardship and pain you went through. And Joseph says to them, Atem chashavtem lera'a, va'elokim chashava letova. You had a bad intention, but God's intention was good. And that's the only thing that could come out. Because, and he adds, if you did not sell me as a slave, we would be right now, all of us, starving to death in Canaan. Instead of it, we're here in Egypt, and we have control over the biggest storage of food humans ever amassed in one place. And I am in control of it, and you all have access to it. Can you imagine? So it all went for the good. 17 is the code for that, because it's the word tov. And God saw that the light was good. Tov. Tov is the number 17. Everything is coming, emanating from the light. Even the darkest moments in our lives are emanated from the Creator. And there is a light over there that when we find that light and attach that light, we can rise to greatness. No one ever rose to greatness sitting on the balcony in front of the beach. Okay? You rise to greatness only through fight, inner fight, controversy, obstacles. Without it, there's no rising to greatness. Every person was born for greatness, and achieving greatness means facing the difficulties and accepting them with love and acceptance that this is what I have to go through. Let me simply reveal the greatness that is hiding behind that moment of inconvenience, pain, suffering, or whatever you name it. Okay? So this is the main story. So that's how we understand when Joseph falls into the pit, and then he goes to Egypt. And in Egypt, and that's what we want to connect to. What happens in Egypt? Chapter 39, verse 1. And it says as follows. And VaYeshev huad Mitzrayma, and Joseph was taken to Egypt. Okay? He was taken down to Egypt because Egypt is down, Israel is up. This is how it goes. Joseph was taken to Egypt. And Potiphar, the agent, Pharaoh's agent, Sar Tabachim Ish Mitzri, an Egyptian, bought Joseph. VaYeshev, and then verse 2. Vayi Adonai et Yosef, Vayi Ish Matzliach. And God was with Joseph, and he was a person of success. And he was doing all of that in his Egyptian master. Verse 3. Vaya Adonav ki Adonai ito. And his master saw that God is with him. V'chol asher useh, whatever he is doing, Joseph, Adonai matzliach biyado. God makes it successful. Okay? And says the Zohar in Parshat VaYeshev, ויהי אדוני את יוסף האיש איש מצליח. אמר רבי יוסי, says רבי יוסי, בואו ראה, בכל מקום שהצדיקים הולכים, wherever the righteous go, and Joseph is basically is the only one of the chariots, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Moses, Aaron, Joseph, and David, all 7 of them, all 7 chariots, he's the only one who's called Yosef HaTzadik, Joseph the righteous. Why? Because the righteous, the tzaddik, is the person who creates the gate between the heaven and the earth. Okay, as the gate, the master gate, that Joseph, the Sfirat Yesod. Whoever is becoming on that level of being a tzaddik, which means connecting to that gate that Joseph created first, okay? Hashchina olechet imahem, the divine presence, the Shekhinah, goes with them. Why? Because they are her agents. A tzaddik is a person who's the angel of the Shekhinah. How come? He's the person that makes sure to bring down the light into every type of reality and to be able to create holiness in every situation, mundane, whatever it is, situation. That is the power of the tzaddik. The tzaddik is not somebody that goes into meditation and he flies, he's somewhere else. He's running away. That's not a tzaddik. The tzaddik is Joseph. Joseph is there in the opening. He is running an empire. He's running an economy. He's running here. He's a boy stolen from his father. Instead of crying and being a victim, he's making his new master rich. And he knows that he's doing it because he's doing God's job. He's a slave to show you, you can be a tzaddik. You can be God's messenger. You can be the agent of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence, even if you are in the most darkest place. Later on, he is thrown into jail. What can be? We thought there's no darker than that. No, to be a Hebrew slave in jail in Egypt, there's darker than where. He's still rising, and he's the agent of the Shekhinah. Every cell of his body is the agent of the Shekhinah. Achieving that level of Joseph, that's what is wanted from each one of us. And that's why we study Torah. That's why we study the Zohar. That's why we pray and meditate. It's all about, whatever we do is about, how do I bring myself to this place of being an agent of the light of the Creator, that people look at me and they see God's actions. That people will look at our actions and see, I see God over here. It's not your action. God came in and did it. This is what we are supposed to achieve. As it says over here, even the Egyptians are not very nice spiritual people in this story, right? The Shekhinah was with him. Why the Shekhinah was with him? Because he decided not to be a victim, not to hate his brothers that betrayed him, that almost killed him, that sold him as a slave. He decided, my calling is one, and I have no other duty on earth. He realized he made a mistake. He did teshuvah, and he totally went into that place in which whatever has happened to me is for one purpose, to achieve God's word. And if God's word is to bring me to where I am right now, to be the agent of the Shekhinah in the property of Potiphar, I'll do it in the property of Potiphar. If it is in jail, I'll do it in jail. This is awesome, understanding that, because there's no dark situation. There's only dark thinking. That's why it says that God was with Joseph. Why? Because the Shekhinah was with him. Whatever he was doing came out successful. שאפילו מה שכבר היה בידו, ואדוניו ביקש הדבר באופן אחר. היה הדבר מתהפך בידו לאותו אופן שאדוניו רצה בו. And the Zohar brings an example, even like his masters ask him for, go to the marketplace and bring me milk. And then his master said, no, I need eggs. It will turn that Joseph would not find milk, you bring eggs. It's like everything was in a way that whatever he did came out right. Why? Because Joseph's legs and hands were in this world of Asiya, in the world of mundane. His mind and his heart were in the upper worlds, faith and connection to the light. That what made him Joseph the righteous, Yosef HaTzadik. This is the power. And then everything is possible because overcoming the logic that says, but I'm a Hebrew boy, what I'm capable of, nothing. They will finish me off. They will humiliate me. They'll step on me. They'll victimize me. They'll abuse me. A human being is exact result of his belief system, especially the way you see yourself. That's how people see you. And the war is always to rise to the occasion and to be the person that God expects you to be the agent of the Shekhinah wherever you are. If you do that, and when you do that, then everything will be amazing. So what is that story about the wife of Potiphar seducing him? Because Joseph was still a human being. And what the Torah is saying, human beings have levels of greatness they have to achieve. And when you reach the height of your level, you would think that maybe I can settle right now because it's amazing. I'm right now, according to the words of the Torah, verse 4 in chapter 39, וימצא יוסף חן בעיניו, and the master of Joseph liked him very much, he found grace in his eyes. וישרת אותו, he served him, and he made him a master. Potiphar made Joseph a master of all his assets. Can you imagine? Potiphar was one of the most powerful economical powers in Egypt, and Joseph is running that business. And Joseph does it as like this is his father's business. Otherwise, there's no way he would be able to achieve such a success. Why? Did he really want to make Potiphar so rich? No. He just believed that wherever God puts him, that's where he should excel. What was the result? He made his master rich, but think about it. He learned how the Egyptian economy is wired, how it's structured. Without that, he would never be able to stand in front of Pharaoh and giving the impression that he knows how to run the Egyptian economy. That was his preparation. So wherever we are, many times we ask ourselves, okay, God, why did you send me over here? Why do I have to do this and this? It's so boring. It's so meaningless. No, you'll ever find that wherever you are is because there's something to learn to prepare you for greatness. If you don't learn it, you miss the round and you'll have to go through it again. And that's the consciousness of victory and success that you can find in those amazing parashot, which is, again, I'll repeat, whatever he was doing, God made him successful in his hands. In his hand, of course, is a Zohar. Masiach biyado. It doesn't say, and his masters knew that God is with him, but his masters saw that God is with him. The master of Joseph saw miracles happening every day. Why? because Joseph's consciousness was, I'm an agent of the Shekhinah. Think about it. Every human being right now, going through the values and the ethics of the Bible, which basically were established by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and by Joseph. Those values are being always the representatives of the Shekhinah, the agents of the Shekhinah, and the Almighty wherever we are. The way we talk, the way we walk, the way we do business, the way we shop. It is it's such a great commitment. But when we achieve that commitment, we can excel and reach the levels of Joseph. And there's nothing so satisfying as this in the world. Reaching that level of Joseph is basically the story of everybody's life. Sooner or later, we have to achieve that place. And that's why it says, the Zohar continues, "Vayivarech Adonai et Beit HaMitzri b'glal Yosef." And God blessed the house of the Egyptians thanks to Joseph. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shomer et hatzadikim. God guards the righteous. Uvishvilam shomer et hareshaim. And because of that, he gives guardians also to the wicked. Because the wicked are being blessed thanks to the righteous. But tzadikim, acherim mitbarchim bishvilam. What is the power of Joseph? What's the power of a tzaddik? That he brings blessing to the world, and there's a ripple effect. It affects everywhere around him, everyone around him. However, the righteous cannot be saved on their own merit. Why? Here Joseph falls into the pit. Why? Because he had to go through that road. He had to go to that place. Because yes, he was in a terrible place. He was in a terrible place. He was in jail in Egypt. However, those 12 years in jail brought him to a place no one was there before him. He simply took Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka, Jacob, Israel, Rachel and Leah. He took all of that power of his ancestors and he brought it to a place in which he is now in a place he can change history. And that could be achieved only when he was in jail. So jail was a blessing. We humans, if we take those parashot of Yosef and we really can embrace the ideas of the Torah and the Zohar, we can achieve greatness beyond any imagination. So what our physical logic is saying, yes, the brothers hated Joseph. He was thrown into a pit. The pit was full of snakes and scorpions. There's no way you will get out of it. He got. He was thrown into Egypt. There's no way he can get out of it. He got out of it. Then the wife of his master wanted him, and he got out of it. Now, all of that, we're talking about stage after stage after stage that are illogical. But when you become an agent of the Shekhinah, everything becomes possible. And that's basically what we're here on earth for. We're not here to achieve anything else but that. When we achieve that, we achieve a life of miracles every day, every minute. Oh, we will have falls. Jacob falls, Joseph falls. The falling is part of learning. And that's why it says even about Joseph, Sheva yipol tzadik vekam. King Solomon says, the righteous will fall 7 times, but he will rise all over again. That is what makes a righteous person. That he sees the good in everything. He's not reactive. And he knows first you have to win the battle between the light and darkness inside you. And then you will become an agent of the Shekhinah wherever you go. You're not yourself, you're an ambassador. And when you do that, you will see miracles upon miracles. Whatever you can see will be bigger than all dreams you can dream of. Thank you so much, and have a great week.
Thank you, Shaul.
Thank you very much. Thank you.